All right, now that we are through the inspection process, the appraisal process, the bank has said, hey, the value is there, you are good to go. Then we have to look at how you're going to take title of the property and then having that outside title company sign off on the property and really make it yours. The seller pays for this. So in the offer to purchase, the seller pays the due diligence to research that title policy to make sure there's no liens, no encumbrances, nothing negative against that property that could harm you as a future owner. And they pay for that at their expense. But they're really doing it in your best interest because you're the one who's going to get that title policy at the time of closing. So they're really doing the work kind of to make sure that you're not getting any problems when you take over ownership. In talking with the title companies, there's a couple of things that we always like to make sure happen when we're writing the offer and as we go throughout the process. So for example, title insurance itself is really not so much for just the home, but it's also for the real estate. So the title insurance policy insures that piece of land that it sits on and anything attached to it. So that's really what the process is for. And when the title company does the research on it, they actually go down to the courthouse. They go through all the recorded documents for that property that are recorded at the courthouse, and they actually do a full historical search of that property as far back as they can go to make sure that there's nothing bad that's really ever affected that property historically. So it's a pretty big process that they go through on their end, but they do it again to make sure that you're getting a property that's free and clear of any issues. When you're writing your offer to purchase, we usually want to make sure that we're writing it in the name of the person that policy is going to be drafted for. So a lot of times we have a couple or a husband and a wife, and only one of them is up here at the time that they look at the house, and they're like, well, I'm just going to make it in my name because I'm the one who's here. We really want to make sure that that offer to purchase reflects everybody that's going to be buying the property. So it really has to have both husband and wife. And both parties have to be on the offer because it just makes it easier at the end, because then we don't have to jump through any hoops to make sure we've got everybody's name on the policy itself. We also want to talk about if you're purchasing in a trust or in an LLC. For example, if you're an investment buyer and you're buying this property to rent or to do weekly rentals or long-term rentals, and you feel like your financial advisor tells you, well, if you're going to do it that way, now that we've got the offer drafted, we feel like you should do it in an LLC to protect yourself from ever being sued if anybody falls down on the property. Well, then we usually have to go back in the offer and change the type of ownership in the offer to purchase so that it properly reflects how you want to take title after closing. So it can be a little bit more of a complicated process, and I've got somebody here who's going to talk to you a little bit more about that and some of the specifics and some of the biggest questions they get as a title company. But that's kind of a brief overview of how the title portion of it works. And again, this is a seller expense, nothing that you have to pay for, but it's all, again, a big piece of that puzzle because it makes sure that you're getting a good, clean bill of health at the time of closing.